Imagine a world where a single palace in Tokyo is worth more than the entire state of California. Every house, every skyscraper, every beach swallowed by the price of one royal garden. In 1989, this wasn't a fantasy, it was the peak of the greatest economic hallucination in history. But when the fever broke, it didn't just cause a crash, it froze a superpower in time for 30 years. To understand the collapse, you have to appreciate the miracle. In 1945, Japan was a graveyard of industrial dreams. A quarter of its buildings were gone, its navy was at the bottom of the ocean. Under American occupation, the country was forcibly rebooted. They traded their bayonets for blueprints, renouncing war to focus on the only battlefield that mattered, the global market. By the 1960s, Japan was the comeback kid of the century. They weren't just rebuilding, they were innovating at a terrifying speed. They doubled their national income in 7 years. By the 80s, the Made in Japan label was a threat to the West. Sony, Nintendo, and Toyota weren't just companies, they were cultural conquerors. But success created a dangerous side effect: overconfidence. Japan had caught up to the West, and with nowhere left to chase, they started betting on themselves. The 1980s in Japan was a decade-long fever dream. It started with the Plaza Accord, a deal that sent the value of the yen skyrocketing. Suddenly, Japanese citizens were the richest people on the planet. To keep the economy from cooling down, the government slashed interest rates, making money virtually free. That free money didn't go into factories, it went into the ground. Real estate became a religion. Because Japan is mountainous and space is tight, people believed land prices could never, ever fall. Banks stopped looking at business plans and started lending billions based on hidden assets, the dirt underneath a company's office. This created a gilded loop. Rising land prices made stocks go up, rising stocks allowed companies to buy more land. It was a financial perpetual motion machine. Businessmen were paying millions just for a golf club membership. Companies like Toyota were making more money from stock speculation than from selling cars. The world watched in horror as Japan began buying up America, snatching up the Rockefeller Center and Hollywood studios like they were souvenir postcards. Every bubble eventually meets a needle. On Christmas Day 1989, the Bank of Japan finally raised interest rates to kill the monstrous inflation. They succeeded too well. The crash wasn't a single explosion, it was a slow, agonizing leak. Stock prices plummeted 60%, property values followed. But here's where Japan's story turns unique. In the West, when a company fails, it dies. In Japan, banks couldn't bear the shame or the loss of admitting their loans were worthless. They created zombie companies. These were dead businesses kept on life support by banks that refused to pull the plug. This froze the economy. New, innovative startups couldn't get funding because all the cash was tied up keeping zombies upright. This led to the lost decades. Japan became the first modern nation to enter a liquidity trap. The government dropped interest rates to zero, but nobody would spend. Why buy a TV today if it will be cheaper tomorrow? This is the deflationary spiral, a black hole that swallows growth. The human cost was a generation of shut-ins, or hikikomori, young people who saw a stagnant job market and simply retreated from the world. The country that once defined the future was now struggling to escape its past. Japan's rise and stall is a warning to every booming economy today. It proves that you can't build a permanent skyscraper on a foundation of what if. Today, Japan faces a shrinking population and a massive debt, but they've also pioneered the tools the rest of the world now uses to survive crashes, like quantitative easing. They were the first to fly too close to the sun, and the world is still learning from their fall. If you want to see how another global power, the Soviet Union, chose a completely different path to economic collapse, click the next video. Their story is a chilling mirror to Japan's. See you there.